What is up, everybody? Welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. Scott, we're gonna be on fire today, dude. I'm already feeling it, man.
You can tell I've succeeded in my job if we intro in a manner like this.
Oh, man. Be looking to join us live at 11 a.m. Eastern over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Dude, I updated the drivers yesterday. I think OBS is going to work today. We'll see how this works. There's no promises, man.
Yeah, hopefully. Usually it's a big maneuver for a day or two, and then everything's fine for another month.
Dude. Yo, we got a banger of a show today. Naughty Dog may have left hints of their next game in The Last of Us. Yeah, let's talk about that one. Assassin's Creed news today, too. We got a lot going on. Assassin's Creed Mirage is similar to Assassin's Creed Unity. I'm excited, and I will get to that as to why. And a much requested landscape from the fans may actually make it into the next Assassin's Creed title. Will Ubisoft bring us to Japan, Scott?
Oh man, I'm really hoping so. This is a lot of good news related to Assassin's Creed. It's almost too much to be believed. We'll see.
Here's Brad joins us over on Twitch and says, you know, it's going to be a good show. As when Drew's laughing right off the bat. Yo, dude, it's cats. I'll leave it at cats. Hit me up later. I'll explain more.
You either get them laughing or you get them kind of a little mad about something. But
I don't get fired up, do I, Scott?
Never.
Let's get into it.
You're so meek and good-mannered.
Yeah, all right. The Last of Us Easter egg hints at Naughty Dog's new fantasy game, Scott. That's the biggest one, right? This all came in the way of The Last of Us. Someone was poking around and found some information that could lead us to the next game from Naughty Dog. This comes from Ed.
You know, the way you introed that made me think of how Destiny and how ODST was kind of paired together in marketing. There's a lot of secrets there. Keep it clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I like how they just kind of, here's snippets of what you can expect maybe perhaps in the future, which is always, I think is really cool. Dude, I think it's cool when they do that kind of stuff. But this comes from Ed over at PC Games, and The Last of Us PC is speculated to arrive very soon after the survival game's recent PS5 remaster. But in the meantime, players have spotted a telling new Easter egg, which, when coupled with Uncharted, seems to suggest the next project by Naughty Dog could be a new fantasy game. Rumors have been swirling around, Scott, that they are branching out a little bit, taking it to the fantasy landscape. What are your thoughts on Naughty Dog, who's been, I wouldn't say somewhat grounded, but, you know, The Last of Us and like the clickers, which is really zombies.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like a lot more, will they go too far and really kind of go like the Destiny landscape? Are we still going to kind of get that more of a human atmosphere and touch?
I'm really hoping they bring that human atmosphere and kind of gritty world building into whatever the next project is. Because I'm not an expert of The Last of Us. I haven't beaten through the entire series or anything like I would love to, but yeah. So you know a little bit more of that identifying factors about the game, and I hope that stays true because it aesthetically looks amazing. Dude. But if you can allow this developer to kind of express more of a science fiction element, a fantasy element, get a little bit off of the ground, I'm totally okay with that.
So here, okay, I'm gonna go to the images, and it's not really a spoiler. It's just what they're kind of teased at. So if you take a look. There's picture one. It's kind of been picked upon as to what the fantasy game will look like, right? So it's just kind of, it honestly is like concept art, which very in the remnants of maybe like a Destiny kind of situation. Like what we get, that's more sci-fi, but you know what I mean? Like, so, like
you know that figure in the middle,
Souls, do you?
Well, I'm looking at that figure in the middle, and I'm thinking, well, big sword is an anime trope, but then again, could that be Kratos in the middle? Right.
So there's a couple things that I'm kind of like, where are we heading next? We getting into dragons, and if so, okay, here's I don't see us going in the vein of like something super cartoony. I'm hoping, right? Like I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna keep it more in the vein or landscape-ish feel of Uncharted, of The Last of Us, something a little bit more realistic looking. And dude, if they can bring us into that landscape, give us like an Elder Scrolls kind of thing, a Skyrim, I'm so down. I'm in. I love Naughty Dog.
That's what I'm wondering. What does their the fantasy look like in terms of Naughty Dog? Is that going to be something where they go with? Is it going to be a Tolkien-esque elves and orcs, or is this going to be kind of an Eastern or Western kind of mythology? Dark Souls being more Western.
The Witcher comes to mind, right? Could we be getting into the realm of The Witcher? Brad says Naughty Dog purchased Scalebound. Dude, I still want that game, dude. That game looked cool and I was down for it, and then they took it away. Xbox.
I feel like I'm going to be telling my kids about that when it comes out in like the year 2040.
It's just funny. Hey, this game was, and then not, and now it is. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, if they go, dude, this fantasy, I'm never, it was The Witcher that hooked me into the fantasy realm, right? I read some books way back in the day, like Dungeons and Dragons books and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But it never really kind of hooked me, right? I've always been this, dude. I love the
totally
stealth stuff. I'm a stealth guy, so.
I've completely avoided D&D for some reason, but I know it's so much fun. I've had friends that play that, and they do their own cyberpunk campaigns as well. And well, the cyberpunk campaign sounds a lot better than the video game. Although,
yeah, Brad, where's that?
The video game's getting better and better every day.
Yeah, we'll be talking on that for tomorrow's episode. Today's episode was already loaded. Yeah, dude, Naughty Dog. Honestly, they can do whatever they want, and I'm gonna follow along, right? It was like kind of watching Kojima. Hopefully, whether you liked Kojima's latest game or not, right? It was just the freedom of allowing him to create what his next vision was, and I think that kind of holds true to where Naughty Dog is with their next title. Will we see The Last of Us Part 3? I think is the other question, right? How many games do they have under development right now? We know they're working on The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer, right? So there's that's coming around the corner.
Are they still working on it though, or is it
it's coming,
long
dude.
after
It's
release?
coming. No, it's definitely coming. They say it's a 2023. So then when do we see the fantasy game come around, Scott? When do we see that?
Yeah.
If we get The Last of Us multiplayer, Part 2 multiplayer, finally, right? We're all looking for it. I think so. They gave us it's such a weird thing, man, because we've seen the remaster of Part 1 so many times. And granted, this is the best remaster version of the game, which makes a ton of sense, but it's completely redone from the ground up. I think a lot of people are going, it's just another coat of paint. No, it's not. Not even close. Not even close to being just a coat of paint. It was literally built from the ground up again. Kind of how you would see Blue Point remaster all of their games that they work on, right? It's like a whole restructure of the game, from the way the characters are modeled, from the way they are animated, from the combat to this, that, and everything else in the world, the landscape. Dude, it is like Naughty Dog is such a talented studio, and to allow them to go back again, even though it was met not with the best reception from the fans, because we have purchased this game over and over and over again. It's kind of like Mario Brothers. But at the same time, if you have a PS5 and you haven't played it, here's your chance to get in, right? Start with 1 and then work your way into 2, because 2 is a continuation. And eventually we'll get 3. Eventually we're going to get the multiplayer. And
hopefully we get 3, or is this a Titanfall situation?
Dude,
you fall in love with it over number 2 and then never again.
I think what we're going to get is we're going to get the multiplayer next year. And then from there, we're going to get the fantasy game. I'm trying to think of how long they'd probably be working on this already. 3 years by now, you think? Right?
Yeah, if they're balancing that with the multiplayer, though, of Last of Us. If the Last of Us multiplayer comes out, say, halfway through 2023, well, that puts all hands on deck for this fantasy title. And then how long does development look, really, though? If you have the entire company on there, it's still probably 2-3 years at the least, I would expect.
Probably, right? So the multiplayer can hold us over from Naughty Dog until they release their next game, and whatever that envision looks like. Is it a multiplayer? Is it single player? Is it a hybrid of both? We really don't know, right? Hopefully not like a games of service. I think that's where we can let the Last of Us multiplayer game survive, right? And let that kind of hold us over. and then bring in this fantasy side of things. Dude, I'm excited just to see whatever Naughty Dog works on next. And I like that they're
You
branching
mentioned
out. Dude, where is Jack and Daxter though? Come on.
You mentioned games of service, and every
You
time
cringed,
I
dude,
think
I
about
heard
it,
it.
I get cringy. Yeah, no, because I apply it to the weirdest settings too. I'm like, well, what if NHL came out and it was a games of service? You
Okay.
only begin with the original 6 teams.
So here's the thing.
Co-op coming next year.
Sports games make a ton of sense for a game of service model. I think MLB The Show should have been doing this for years. Here's the latest roster. Instead of giving us a brand new game every single year, they get a 9-month cycle on it, right? Which is never long enough because they can only implement small little features. So why don't you just keep it going as a live service game? And then, okay, here's a new year, new ball season. Boom. Here's a new updated roster. Here's where all the players shifted from this team to that team.
I do actually agree with you.
Right? It makes a ton of sense, but I don't, for some reason, they keep pumping out a new game. But either way. Dude, let's get into
because somebody will buy it. That's the root
that's
of the games of service. If you don't like it, don't buy it. And if you do like it, do buy it. And we'll just see how the cards fall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dude, let's get into what Assassin's Creed is up to. Assassin's Creed Mirage is very similar to Unity, says leaks. Always some leaks coming around, Scott.
I hope the faces work a little bit better.
Two eyeballs. Bing! That's all you saw.
that was one of the most glorious glitches from launch I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a PC thing only. That's kind of
a little unnerving, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Oh, it was weird, man. Gaming Bible. Last week, Ubisoft officially confirmed that Assassin's Creed Mirage is to be the next installment in the studio's widely popular franchise. Besides the fact that Mirage is to be set in 9th century Baghdad. Dude, well, I'm down. I'm really down for this. This sounds awesome to me. We know very little about the game aside from the fact that mysterious assassin on the cover art is Valhalla's Basim. Yes, it
super
is.
Secret character. That was somehow a super secret reveal.
It's not secret at all.
You knew that like 3 weeks before even the name came out.
Yeah. Fresh leak now provides further new insight. YouTuber Jonathan, who previously leaked the now confirmed title of Assassin's Creed Mirage, has released further details on the title's gameplay. Share it via Twitter user Mr. Ribs. The leaker claims that Baghdad is the only city in the game, but it will be divided into multiple zones, each with its own boss. The various zones will be surrounded by desert, oasis, and rivers. Dude, it doesn't sound like it's a small map, Scott. Like, I'll be honest.
No.
Right?
The idea of having it locked behind different areas of the city, though, reminded me just for a moment of Crackdown. The original Crackdown and the way the figureheads and the gang worked. It was a very good Assassin's Creed setup.
For sure. No, absolutely. It certainly sounds like Mirage is heavily inspired by Assassin's Creed Unity. The similarities don't stop there, as Mirage will have lots of NPCs in the streets and will feature lots of interactions for parkour, such as lanterns to turn around the corner on walls or poles to reach distant buildings. Dude, I'm like, that's one of the aspects I missed of having Valhalla is the parkour, because that's what the franchise has been known for so long. And again, you have to iterate and keep iterating to keep moving the franchise forward. But sometimes when you iterate, you'll lose other things that some of the fans like myself really loved about the game. But Unity, hands down, has the best parkour in the series, so it'll be great to see Mirage match this. The leaker further added that Mirage will mark the return of throwing knives. Sweet! And rooftop hiding places. Plus, some assassinations would now be in slow motion. As always, take the leaks with a pinch of salt. So yeah, we'll see more on September 10th, which we're going to get to that article here in a minute as well. But Scott, Mirage, dude, sounds incredible to me. It does feel like we're going back home to what felt much more of the Assassin's Creed of my time that I love so much, and what kind of got me into the series is that stealthy side of things, right? Throwing, dude. There's no two hidden blades in Valhalla. It's like you get one, and then that was like, yeah.
Well, I think Ezio was the only one that had the two.
It was awesome, dude. It was so cool.
I'm not sure why it required Leonardo da Vinci to theorize putting a second blade on the assassin would be great, but I'm pretty sure that was only Ezio. And Assassin's Creed Unity, was that the one where you could hold the button and you parkour downward? You can descend
Yes.
in a fast manner. Because I remember that being new, and I liked it. I liked it a lot at the time.
Well, so that's my other question too, was how did they implement the parkour system back into Mirage? Are we going with that Unity feel of all holding one button brings you up, the other button brings you down? Like you can hit right now, because I'm on Xbox playing Valhalla, you tap B and you drop, right? But if you hold it, like, man, the parkour element in Unity was smooth, dude. Like you were pulling off things, it was just like, this is awesome. Like it was so cool. But I don't know, man. We'll see what
Syndicate was the
happens.
last one that I played as city-based that I recall. And that was
Syndicate
a
was
lot of
good
fun.
too.
I really liked the environments, the idea of it being
Yeah.
one city. I like that.
Well, that's
It
the
doesn't
other
have to
side
be
here.
the continental America.
Dude, Valhalla, I'm all over the place. Like it is massive. Like it is so big. I'm 120 hours in now, and I'm still on the hunt for some of the order to take them. Like it's just been ongoing. I feel at this
The
point.
game doesn't stop giving.
Well, it's funny because I've reached this, but it feels like the end of the story, but I'm not quite. It's I don't want to spoil it, obviously. So it's just one of those things. But man, I'm telling you. Scott, let's get into what's up next with Ubisoft to announce multiple Assassin's Creed games, including one set in Japan.
Yeah, this is perhaps more exciting to me than Mirage.
Okay. This comes
If
from
it's to
Robert
be
over
believed,
Push Square.
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Exactly. Ubisoft will announce multiple Assassin's Creed games during its Ubisoft Forward showcase this weekend. I'll be there, 3:00 live. I'll be live. We'll watch it together. Come hang out with me and whoever else is going to join. I'm not too sure. Scott, are you around?
Was that on the 10th?
Yeah, it's this Saturday.
I believe so.
There we go. Scott's going to be here for sure. Confirmed. If not, he's fired. Says a new report from Bloomberg. Said report adds some serious fuel to the rumors that have been making the rounds over the last couple of weeks. Man, I'll only read what's right in front of me, Scott. Which have suggested that the French publisher has big plans for the franchise's future. According to the article, everything revolves around Assassin's Creed Infinity, the live service platform, which will cover multiple games across different points in history. Infinity's first two games are apparently codenamed Red and Neo, or Hex. The former is reportedly set in Japan, while the latter takes place during the witch trials of the Holy Roman Empire. Dude, that's quite the mix then, isn't it? However, Bloomberg notes that these projects aren't expected to release until 2024 at the earliest, which is interesting. For Ubisoft to reveal this stuff over the year from potential launch dates would mean that it must be pushing for a significant marketing cycle. Again, big plans. Of course, nobody really knows much of anything. This is all just rumors and speculation. But Scott, Assassin's Creed Infinity is supposed to be a live service experience which just continues and grows, kind of like Destiny, right? Like Destiny,
but adding with different games entirely. I'm still not quite sure I understand how that's going to fit. I think of Battlefield in the way that I can load up any of the battlefields and they can all reference each other through the same menu.
right?
I'm not sure how to explain that better, but it's like a user interface that I can load up 5 or 1 or 2042.
But
and
isn't that just another game?
It's just a menu, essentially.
Right?
Yeah, you're just loading up game into another game. And so I'm not sure if I see their vision on that one, but I had the thought, the witch trials of the Holy Roman Empire, wouldn't that be such an easy time to get people assassinated? She's a witch. Done. Yeah, done. And then you go have a pint.
Well, it's one of those weird, the way it's sounding to me is like how they keep implementing more DLC for Valhalla, right? It's just another addition to the game and another addition and another addition. Where a live service game like pulls you into that world, like Destiny. Dude, Destiny 2 has so much content in that game. It just keeps going, right? A live service game, Fortnite, just keeps going, just keeps adding more and more content, but in a different manner than here's more DLC and here's more DLC. There's a loot grind system to everything. There's a power level you got to go through. So Infinity at some point you would think is going to, because what we've heard with Mirage is that the RPG element is gone, but they're going to bring it back for Infinity to keep that momentum going and the daily challenges and things like that. Like there's a lot of questions going on. I'm hoping there's some explanation this Saturday.
Maybe you're onto something there. Perhaps through the different games that Unity includes, maybe your power level stays the same, or there's some things you can bring from one to the other. That might be it, but I'm really
Right.
grasping at my imagination now.
Well, so if you play the hunter class in Destiny, whatever is out next, you just carry that hunter forward, right? And you keep bringing it in and moving it forward into the next piece of DLC, the next content drop, whatever keeps coming around in the corner. But for Assassin's Creed, I guess you're doing the same thing. Like Eivor, I keep using Eivor for the same piece of DLC. It just seems, man, I don't know. I was expecting something different, I guess, when it comes to what they're going to do for a live service game versus just another game with more DLC. Like, how do they make it different, right? I think that's my biggest question, is what's going to make this as a live service game experience versus Valhalla, which just keeps dropping more DLC at the same time. Because if that's what they're doing, then I guess that's kind of a live service game because you're still keeping that alive. Like, dude, there's so much DLC in Valhalla. I'm never going to finish it all. Like, not even close. There's so much. It's crazy. But I don't know. We'll see. Scott, I got one more thing I want to get to before we end up today. Marvel Spider-Man 2 gameplay reveal reportedly coming soon. Let's go. Logan Moore over at comicbook.com. A notable PlayStation insider has teased that Insomniac Games will, quote, soon, end quote. Oh, I just went right to the top, dude. Oh, I hit my spacebar button. Soon we'll be showing
Too excited.
We'll be showing off the first gameplay footage from Marvel Spider-Man 2. First announced last year, Insomniac confirmed via a debut trailer that a sequel to 2018's Marvel Spider-Man was officially in the works for PlayStation 5. Scott. So.
And it sounds like a Forza racetrack over here, but don't let that distract you.
So the game's not coming out until next year at some point. We don't really know when. But if they're doing... Here's the biggest question for me. Where's the state of play for God of War? God of War is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's Sony tradition that there would generally be something on a state of play because that game is coming soon, right? They're not often just ignored.
No, not at all. So I'm kind of questioning, you're going to show Spider-Man, but you're not going to show anything. Like, everybody now, I think the expectations of God of War is just already so high that, dude, they don't need anything to showcase. Like, I heard the Leviathan Axe has a bunch of changes, and like, I'm trying to stay away from anything related to God of War at this point. I just give me the game already. I just want to play it, right? Like, what's next for Atreus and Kratos as we move forward into the sequel and wrap up the Norse mythology over here. But they normally have a state of play, so that they're gonna now, maybe they'll do away with God of War and just, here's Spider-Man. And yo, I can't wait. Co-op is apparently a big rumor going around, whether that is, here's the main campaign, and then co-op is like a separate thing, kind of like you and I were talking about back in the day for Deniable Ops with Splinter Cell, right? At one point. So, which was cool, and I'm down for that. If you can go as Peter Parker and then Miles Morales, and you're out swinging, taking care of like crime missions or what? Hopefully not just crime missions, because some of them get really repetitive and boring. But we'll see what they implement, though.
Do you remember the original Spider-Man 2 way back in the day?
Oh yeah,
My balloon,
oh, dude! I caught so many balloons, it was nuts.
I started ignoring them out of annoyance.
Well, it was just nonstop, right? It was just one of those go fetch my balloon again and again, and again, right? Like, it's just go, and I'm like, no, this is not cool. But definitely curious to see where that's gonna go next for Spider-Man. Craven's there, rumors of Craven. Anyways, you can hear him in the background, and then Venom is like, yo, Venom. What if they go co-op and we can play as Venom? I want to play as Venom.
That would be a very interesting way of doing it. Yeah, because I feel like Venom is kind of over leaned on. He's kind of like the edgy kid's favorite character, but
I love them.
I guess I've just experienced that for too much. But if in a co-op setting, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. Scott, we do have one game out today, though, buddy. What is it?
We have 9 Noir Lives on PC.
It's a point-and-click adventure game from what I can tell. But, Scott, just like that, it's going to wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live at 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday, over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, I'm Drew, that's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.